Right, so with that comment in mind and also taking into account the significant focus the newer policy placed on maintaining protection of the national car makers while at the same time liberalizing the rest of the sector, it's timely to have with us tonight the Managing Director of Proton Holdings Berhad to help us make sense of how the NAP could both impact and strengthen our national car company. Welcome, Datuk Syed. Good to have you on our show.
Yeah, good to be here.
Okay, very quickly, from Proton's perspective, how do you view the national automotive policy that was just announced?
I think the national automotive policy is very long-sighted and trying to correct some structural issues in the overall automotive industry. What you can see in the NAP, the government is encouraging, FDIs through liberalization. Obviously, it's only a controlled liberalization. At the same time, the government are also trying to put more discipline in the automotive industry in terms of standards and safety. I think for many years, if you look at growing economies, if you want to go to a developed economy, you need to put structures in place. I think over many years we've been trying to engage with the government, and finally today I think the government is making a very bold move to make sure that the public at large will be protected, to make sure they have good and safety cars. And what's also good about the NEP today, it doesn't only address the manufacturers, it addresses the entire ecosystem. I think the vendors also will be benefiting, will benefit from this, and also from the dealers. So I think it's quite well encompassing. But surely, as any policy, you need to adjust, and people need to adapt in strategy. But I think for the first time, the government made it very clear the framework that the policy is going to be. And today, for a company like us, we need to sit down and strategize. And I think that's good.
Okay, now a big issue in the recently announced policy was the practice of APs or approved permits. A lot of people were hoping that that would be removed completely, but it wasn't. What is your thought on it? Is it a boost or a boon to the development of the industry?
I think let's go back to why the AP system has been developed many years ago, is to develop economic activity. And I believe to some extent, I think that has been done. I think the question today, I think, Shaheen, that we should look at is how do we regulate the implementation of the AP? I mean, if you look at the overall people that's involved, there are people that add value to the economy. And I think that's very important. So let's look at how that can be done and how that can be further enhanced. And now, given the time frame, I'm sure the government today wants to make sure that it's regulated properly, and that 10,000 surcharge, I think, is one step to make sure that the real people in the business will benefit for the AP. And I think that's, it's good for the government to do this.
Okay. Now, currently, buyers of either Proton or Perodua enjoy non-cash rebates of 5,000 ringgit. Right. Now, the NAP didn't really seem to address this issue. So in your view, might this rebate possibly be continued, extended to other marques, or do you think it might just be abolished completely?
Well, if you recall, this 5,000 rebate was announced part of the stimulus package. And why the stimulus package was being implemented is to spur up more economic activity given the recession. Now, if you look at all the other countries, both in Europe and America, similar systems have been adapted. But like any other stimulus package, it will come to an end. It was supposed to be a quick fix to generate, interest in the economy. And by far, you see today, after the exchange has been done, I think there's a lot of interest. Obviously, we are working and consulting with the government on how should this be continued or not. So that is why I think there's a lot of complaint, to Proton today, I'm sure, about why we stopped. So we had to, stop this temporarily because we want to start, consulting the government, the view about going forward. As of today, based on the current interest, the total allocation given to the stimulus package has been exhausted. So we hope, we will get some feedback from the government very soon, and when the time is right, we'll communicate, all to our consumers and the public, in terms of the long-term view of the exchange program.
Okay, that's good news for our viewers, hopefully. Right. Now, of course, another issue that was brought up in the NAP announcement was that Proton will now have to search for a strategic partner. So how has that search been doing so far?
Yeah, that's $1 million question that people have been asking. No, I think one thing to correct, I think we've always advocated that there's always a need to work in collaboration going forward. We have never said that we can do it by ourselves. But you want to collaborate, you have to make sure the company is strong. And today, I can say safely that the company is much stronger footing. And when we have a plan, then I think the time has come for us to go and look and negotiate, on better terms. We are, to be honest with you, in discussion with several parties. And of course, things like this, Shani, you can't really go public until everything is finalized, and both parties look into a strategic fit. And it must be an equation of a win-win situation for both sides. I think that's very important. I think Proton has a very long history. 25 years in existence, we have accumulated long strength. So we need to position ourselves carefully to make sure when we do negotiate with a foreign partner, it's something of strategic in nature. It must be business first. At the same time, it must subscribe to some long-term strategic objective, both the company and also the country. And that's what we're trying to do. So hopefully soon, I think we should be able to tell the public and everybody who's been asking this question what's the way forward. But it's ongoing. Yeah.
I know you can't disclose any of those companies that you're working together with, but could you at least give us an idea if this is a company that you've already been talking to, or might it be a new partner?
Well, all I can say is a company that we've been talking to on one occasion or the other.
Okay. And also, now that a partnership has been clearly outlined, what kind of timeline are you giving yourself to find a partner?
Well, we are not, putting a fixed timeline. As you know, about 3 years ago, we embarked on what we call the ASEAN Multi-Local OEM Strategy. We are on a third year of execution, and I can say that things are going, as planned. There might be a setback today because of the economic recession. So in terms of timeline, I think we look by, at latest by first quarter next year, we hope to finalize. Because it's very important. One, the strategic partnership is, finalized. The long-term product, the long-term powertrain, will then be, sorted out. So I think it's also very important. But I don't like to put, a specific date, because this is something that you want to pace yourself. Surely, when the time is right, it could be, in a few weeks, or it could be several months. But we would like to close it by first quarter next year, hopefully, to make sure that the long-term 5-year review would have been put in place, to make sure that the company is stronger in the next 5 years.
So the government did not actually specify for you any timeline?
No, the government didn't, but obviously the government is encouraging, and I think the NEP today can kind of hasten the process a little bit. I think the government put a very clear view about the need to strategic alliance, and I think there's a lot of incentive and package that would attract foreign investors coming into the country. So I think that hastened the process a little bit, and hopefully, as I said, we'll not taking our sweet time, but we want to make sure that's the right thing to do. I think that's more important.
Right. Now, you mentioned the 5-year direction just now.
Right.
Can you give us an idea of Proton's roadmap in the immediate term, and what about your 3 to 5 year strategy, so short term and long term?
What is clear in the 5-year business plan is not to focus more on domestic anymore. As you would appreciate, Shani, the market here in Malaysia is very small.
Yeah.
TIV is about 500. If you take about 30%, it's about 150,000. 150,000 in the automotive industry is very small, and then you cannot really achieve economies of scale. So to be relevant, I think we have to go outside our boundaries of Malaysia. And today we are concentrated primarily in ASEAN. We've done quite well, I think, in Thailand, Indonesia of late, and go beyond that. And today we are focusing on the growing economies. And surely China is one of them, India is one of them, and Middle East, particularly Iran. We are already in China, as you would probably have heard. And today, we are exporting CKD, both the Gen 2 and the Persona, and in the tune about 800 to 900 units a month. So I think it's the right step going forward, and hopefully we can expand this even further. In India, we are discussing with several parties, and I'm sure you've read in the papers. Hopefully soon, we also be finalizing our strategy. And these are the big markets. I mean, talking about close to about 8 to 9 million cars a year in China alone. So I think we do have some strength. The question is, we need to work smartly. Don't encourage us doing this alone in any of those countries. I think we should work together with the local partners, because understanding local knowledge is going to be very key. We cannot design cars in Malaysia thinking that we can sell well in China or India.
Yeah.
So we need to be on the ground, and to that we need some strong local partners. And surely that's something that over time we'll continue to review, and when the time is right and the partner is right, we'll decide.
Okay, now we'll put that thought on hold, and
Sure.
we'll just go for a short commercial break. We're still open for questions at stockwatch@tv3.com.my. We'll be back right after this.